Welcome to the kitchen. Today we're going to make a salted milk chocolate almond hazelnut brittle. And this is one of those great things for Christmas to give out as a holiday gift or a hostess gift, or this is so good anytime you're entertaining and want to have something wonderful that your guests will love. Make this recipe. It is so good. All right, so we need sugar, sliced almonds, chopped hazelnuts, and we're going to toast these. So we're going to put these into a 300-degree oven on a sheet pan with parchment paper for 9 minutes. So the hazelnuts are going to go on top and they need to already be toasted. So make sure you do that step ahead of time and let them cool. Chop them up a little bit more. You don't want them so big. And then prep that before the recipe you start. Once you start this recipe, you cannot stop. You are working with sugar. We are going to bring this sugar to a caramel, and you need to be careful and work quickly. So make sure you have all your mise en place ready, which means measure everything ahead of time, have it all out and ready, so that way you don't ruin it. It can burn. If you don't touch the caramel at the right moment, it can burn. All right, so we're going to have our butter sitting out so it's at room temperature. If you store your chips in the refrigerator, take them out and have these also at room temperature. Okay, so we need a Silpat, which is a silicone mat, half sheet pan. If you don't have the silicone mat, you can use parchment paper. If you're going to use parchment paper though, cut it to fit and then spray it lightly with some non-stick cooking spray.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can bring you more recipes. Thank you.
Here we go. I have our 2 cups or 15 ounces of sugar in a large saucepan, and I'm going to add to it our ½ cup of water. Now, when you're pouring this in, you don't want to splatter any of the sugar crystals along the edge of the pan. So I tend to just pour it in so that way you wash off any of those sugar crystals that may have gotten up the sides. If you don't do that, you can run the risk of crystallizing your sugar. If you have sugar crystals on the sides of the pan when you're boiling this, when they touch the caramel, they can crystallize the whole entire thing. So if you look at the sides of the pan, there's no crystals of sugar on it, okay? So don't stir this up, all right? Just pour the water in, and you can gently jiggle it, turn the heat on high, and then it melt and come to a boil, not stirring it, leave it alone. If you have a candy thermometer, you can put it in, and you're gonna want it to go to 290 to 300. You're gonna see a nice golden brown caramel. Here's our sugar. It's been boiling for about 4 minutes. It's at a rapid boil, and we're gonna keep the heat on medium-high. And don't walk away when you're at this point, because you wanna keep an eye on it, because it can go from caramel to burnt very, very quickly. So don't be doing anything else. Make sure everything is ready and you're here keeping an eye on your sugar. All right, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a little bit of golden caramel beginning to form. And if you notice, I have my almonds, baking soda, my wooden spoon, and my butter already unwrapped because it can go very quickly. Also, I have a bowl of cold water. If you've got ice in it, even better. In case the caramel gets in my finger, I can quickly submerge it and hopefully prevent it from getting a bad burn. So I'm gonna start to turn my heat down just a little bit because I want to control it. Also, you can see how the pot, it's forming on one side. That means that's the hot side. So I'm gonna rotate the pan so that the caramel will form more evenly. So make sure you keep an eye on it that way as well. Now, that is a nice color caramel and it will continue to cook, but I do want it to get it a bit darker. And again, if you have your kitchen thermometer, your candy thermometer in, we're looking for 290 to 300 degrees. And that's the color that we want. I'm trying to get a bit of a darker one first. So there we go. You can see now we're getting a nice golden brown color. And we're just gonna swirl this around. Okay, now that's the color I'm looking for. And we're gonna turn this off, and I'm gonna get the butter in. Turn the heat off completely, stand back. See, it's beginning to bubble away. Stand back because that steam can burn. All right, and then once we add this baking soda, that too has a chemical reaction and starts to bubble. We'll get our nuts in there. All right, and now I'm gonna begin to stir. Now I have a very long-handled wooden spoon, so try to find a wooden spoon with a very long handle. All right, so if you have to step back because there's so much steam coming off, do that. That steam will burn you. Please be careful, you are working with caramel. You see that beautiful color we've got? All right, so the heat is off, and now we're stirring. We want to keep stirring this so all that butter melts in, and we get a nice smooth texture. So that's going to take maybe 2 minutes of stirring. We're going to keep stirring this until that smooth texture forms. Here is our beautiful brittle. Now, if you look at that, see how smooth it is now? It's all been stirred together. So that took about 2 minutes of stirring. And I'm going to pour this now onto my sheet pan with silk pad. So this is very hot, the handle, so make sure you use a pot holder. And I need 2 hands to transfer this onto it, so I'll come back and show you it in a minute. Okay, so again, I have everything ready because we are working with this very, very hot caramel. My hazelnuts that are toasted and chopped are right there. My 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt is ready. My bag is even, I've already cut it so I can sprinkle these on. I have an offset to spread the brittle and then the offset to spread the melted chocolate. So let me pour this on, and here is our silpat lined half sheet pan. We're gonna pour it on and then thin it out. So make sure you spread it evenly all the way to the edge. And you have to work a little bit quickly because you don't want this to set up and then it'll be stuck and you won't be able to move it at all. So you need to get this spread out over the whole entire sheet pan. And now again, you gotta work quickly. Once you get that spread, you gotta get your chips all over the top so that they can start to melt. So once you get all of those chips spread all over, you're going to have to wait about 2 to 3 minutes for the residual heat to melt the chips, and then we can spread it with this offset and make a thin coating of chocolate, and then instantly sprinkle on your hazelnuts and salt. All right, you can see some of the chocolate's already melting, and we can start to spread this around. You see? Just gently back and forth. You want a thin layer of the chocolate on top of the brittle. So we've got the chocolate spread out over the whole sheet pan, and now I'm going to sprinkle it with the hazelnuts that are toasted, and then I chop them a bit more. So I'm gonna use up all of these. That's 4 ounces of hazelnuts, and just sprinkle them evenly over the top. Once you get all of your nuts, then you're gonna sprinkle on your kosher salt. Now please be careful when you're sprinkling this. Take your time and do it in a methodical way so you don't get a lot of salt in one spot. So I'm going down this side first, back and forth, and then I'll work my way across. Once you've sprinkled the salt over, then use some nonstick cooking spray and spray your pizza cutter. And we're going to score this. Now you have a silk pad underneath, so don't cut down too much, otherwise you might ruin your silk pad. So just press down firmly and score the brittle, so that way when you unmold it, it'll crack into nice pieces. A brittle usually is cracked into random pieces, so don't worry too much about how evenly you score it. It's just to make it easy to break it up when you get it out of the pan after it's set up in the refrigerator. So I just do it like this, and then rotate and do the other direction. This is a wonderful thing to use for holiday cookie tins or on your hostess gift when you go to somebody's house, or on your dessert table. This is wonderful. And I used milk chocolate. You can use semi-sweet chocolate as well. I just personally prefer milk chocolate with the hazelnut. And you can also use different nuts too. You could experiment and use pecans or walnuts. So whatever your heart desires, you can change this. Now I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator and have it set for a minimum of 2 hours. Here's our brittle. It was in the refrigerator for 2 hours, and now I'm gonna flip it out to this piece of parchment paper, and there's a nice little tray to put this in. But I want you to see it's pretty easy. You just can turn it over and it plops right out. That was easy enough. And then you're just gonna peel the silpat off, and where I scored it, as you can see, it broke, okay? So then all you need to do is continue to break along those scored lines, and it'll also break into these pieces that you want. So you just keep breaking this up, and when you get these nice sort of shards, you can put this on your tray, and you don't want them too big, so you want them, you know, somebody can pick it up and eat it like that, but you don't want them ginormous. And just arrange these nicely, or as I said, we can put them in nice bags with some ribbon on it and make it into a hostess gift. So if you're going to put it in a bag, you can cut it into even smaller pieces. Just like that. There we go. A nice display for your party. There we go, a nice platter of our brittle. This is so good, believe me. I just want to eat the whole thing right now. But anyhow, you can also put it into nice cellophane bags for Christmas. And thank you so much for watching, everybody. Take care, happy holidays, and please come back and see more of our videos.
For more recipe demonstrations, please click like and subscribe to Chef Victoria Loves YouTube channel and have fun in the kitchen. Thank you.